So I'm going to make this quick video. We're about to have, I said in my last video, we're going to have 19-degree temperatures. Well, the weather forecast has changed and we're projected to have 9 degrees Fahrenheit. So what I'm doing is, this right here is my tree collard, and I grew it this year just to keep tree collard on the property. I don't think it's a great crop for permaculture in this area, but I'm not ready to quite get rid of it yet. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting little basically cuttings to start them indoors during the winter, so I can have them for spring in case I want them. So what I'm going to do is cut these little leaves off, and you can see I have already started, and you have to keep a few nodes that you can submerge in the soil for rooting. And I'll probably put them in the refrigerator for anywhere from 3 days to a couple of weeks. And then when I'm ready, I'll pull them out and start potting them up, and they should root. So that's one of the things I do in preparation for any type of major freeze. Rather than covering my crops with plastic, because I hate plastic, I do this. I might also go around, and a trick that I learned from a channel called the Farm Hand's Companion is that if you simply put something over the top of your crops, it doesn't have to be plastic, just anything over the top, it has a tendency to make it just a little bit warmer. So for some of my crops, I might put a 2x4 or something suspended over the top of them, or a 2x6, or I might get an old pot that is broken so I can't use it for potted plants anymore. And it's got holes in it, and I might put that over the top of it to give it a little bit of protection. It's nowhere near as good as a greenhouse or a high tunnel, but believe it or not, for if you have good crop choice and you have crops that are winter hardy, doing something that simple can help it survive down to that low temperature. So we will see. I will keep you apprised and let you know what happens after the freeze and see how well my little method does. Okay, so why am I filming a bag full of greens? These aren't just greens, these are Richmond's purple tree collard. And I made these cuttings before the freeze. And it's what I do to keep this species on my property. I do a cutting, throw it in the fridge for a couple days, just because I don't feel like getting to it right away. I am lazy. And then I come out and pot them up. So I'm gonna try to document the potting up process. I have 2 methods for doing it. And that way I can track the progress. You can see which method works better for me. So what's coming up is the potting up of the tree collard cuttings that I took. And I wanted to apologize because it was the first time that I've ever tried to film myself doing something. And once I got back into editing, I noticed that the microphone had destroyed the entire video. So I did what I could to fix it in editing, and as a result, you probably don't have the best audio. But I wanted to still provide the video because I think it may still be useful, so I hope you get something out of it. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this. I got a tripod, but no cameraman, so I'll do my best, see how this video comes out. Alright, here's my bago cuttings. Hopefully you're getting that. There you go. Now you see this? That's a node. That's a node. This is a node. You need at least 3 of those into the soil, or whatever planting medium you're using. You can do more, but you need at least 3. And you need at least 1 above the soil. I like to have a couple above the soil. So obviously this guy right here could become multiple cuttings. We got these 3. We got those 2. I could cut it right there. Could cut it right there, and then I get another cutting. But if I do that, I got these 3, and then all these leave above the soil. So that should work. On the cuttings, I tend to have better luck with cuttings that have a little bit of green leaves on top. Now, I won't necessarily leave all these leaves. This is a little large right here. But I will leave some of the very tiny leaves, like this little guy right here. Okay? So those are the cuttings that I consider to be choice. And just fish all of those out. I got more than I thought I did. And I took way more cuttings than I actually need. I'm probably only going to make 5 or 6 of these. We will see. Alright, so I will get some pots. Let me show you what I use for a planting medium. This is extremely high-grade sphagnum moss. I, in the past, have had the best luck with this. Now, I have some low-grade sphagnum moss that I bought in bulk. I forget where I bought it. I wish I could remember. But it's not that easy to come by in bulk. But it was a large bale, like a hay bale size, of sphagnum moss. This is when I did a lot of bonsai stuff and a lot of air layerings, which I don't really do anymore. So all this stuff is kind of left over from that. And I do have some potting soil, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use it. I may use it just to show you guys, but I have not had much luck with in the past with it. So I have much better luck with the sphagnum moss. Okay, so the next phase is I get a pretty clean pair of scissors. Okay, and I find my little cuttings here. Let's come out on camera. Find my little cuttings here and get them ready for potting. Now I don't want to have to use, like, you can see how long this is. I would have to use like a gallon pot to pot this up. I really don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is count these nodes. I got these leaves coming out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nodes. If I cut here, that gives me 1, 2, 3 nodes below the soil line. And that leaves this guy with 3 nodes and 1 above. That becomes 2 cuttings. That's what I'm going to do. So you get the idea. Rinse and repeat. Same thing. Just count the nodes down, figure out what would be good for potting, and cut it. So I'm going to go through all 20 of these, sort them, and figure out how many I'm going to pot. So when I come back, should have my pots ready and show you what I do there. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken some sphagnum moss and put it in a bucket to soak in some water. It doesn't take very long, a couple minutes. You can leave it in there longer, but I don't think it's necessary. The reason why I wet the sphagnum moss is it makes it easier to pack into the pot. When it's dry, it's so spongy that it just pops right back out. So, let's get this over here. Now, I've got all my pots ready, and I think I'm going to go with a little 2-inch pot. I was able to get the cuttings small enough that they should fit in there. So, a little 2-inch pot there. I've got these 3-inch pots. Really hope I don't have to use them. Sphagnum moss is expensive. You can be saying to yourself, I thought you said that you like to do everything cheap. And I do when it comes to farm stuff. Anything that's supposed to turn a profit. But the way I look at Richmond's tree collard is that it's not really good for permaculture. It's more like a crop that I keep just for personal reasons. Like I would have it regardless if I had any type of operation that was trying to make money. So, get this guy underway. All right. You use sphagnum. Squeeze all that excess water out. It holds something like 30% of its weight in water. So I put just a little bit in there. Put way too much in there. So I always pack in the bottom first. Just put a layer of sphagnum down at the bottom. Let's see if it comes out on camera. Can't see it. I need a light down in there. Sorry. No supplemental lighting for me. No, won't try to show you anymore. Anyway, there's about that much in the bottom. Okay, and then I put my cutting in there, and you can see, since I have these green leaves above it, I don't need any nodes above the soil line. So I got 3 nodes. I told you need 3 nodes below the soil line. I'm going to put 3 nodes below the soil line. This is what we got. Messy, messy process. See it starting to come together. See the sphagnum in there. Not much to it. Now I pack it in pretty good and tight. Sphagnum can be pretty loose, and it doesn't need to be that tight. But I do seem to get better results when it's packed a little bit on the tighter side. Even though I put a ridiculous amount of sphagnum in here, it's this tiny little pot. When you stuff it in like that, you can see that it uses a ton of this sphagnum. So this can be very expensive very quick. Now, I bought it in bulk on discount. That makes it a bit cheaper. This more high-end sphagnum moss, you're not going to find that on bulk too easily in my part of Texas. So that's one plant. Potted up, sphagnum moss. Give myself some room here. Now I'm going to rinse and repeat that process. I'll spare you. I got 20 of these to get through. And what I'll do is I'll just show you when I'm done. And I will probably do one or two in some potting soil just so you can see how they do differently. Now let me give you a word on the diameter of the cuttings. If you look here, I got two cuttings. You can see this one right here is fatter than this one. This is about the diameter of a number 2 pencil, this one right here. And this is about the diameter of my pinky finger, roughly, maybe a little smaller. I find that the ones about the size of my pinky finger are better. That's roughly a 1/2 inch in diameter, maybe 3/4. This one's about a 1/4 inch in diameter. I've had luck with both, but a little bit fatter usually works. Now, you get something like this, which is kind of woody, and it's more the older stem, and it's much fatter. I've had less luck with these. Not zero luck, but just less. So, keep that in mind. Okay, so this is the end result. So let's see here. This one is it has the good sphagnum moss. You can see the color difference. One of these is 3/4 good sphagnum moss with a little bit of the cheaper stuff. And then I did 2 of them in potting soil. One of them is the kind with the leaf, a little bit thinner diameter that I usually have more luck with. And the other one is the thick job, like almost the size of my thumb. And I don't usually have as good a germination rate with those guys, a rooting rate. I have luck with all of them. Tree collar is crazy easy to get to root, but I have a 100% germination rate so far in sphagnum moss, with especially the good sphagnum moss. With the cheaper stuff, it's like 90%, and then with potting soil, it's 60 to 70% germination rate. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to put these in a windowsill. I also have some grow lamps. Probably put them under there, and hopefully we'll get some good rootings. On the soil, I do pack the soil in pretty good because it's dry. Not nearly as much as I pack in the sphagnum moss, but then I usually give it a good soaking, get it nice and soaked, and then just kind of keep the soil moist but not wet after that. So there we go, folks. Let's see how this comes out.